Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being with us for this special broadcast here on the maybe upcoming UFO slash alien disclosure. There's a good chance, but let me start with the mantra of the Inspired live stream has been here for such a long time. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. Now, people have been asking me, how can you say that? World's gone crazy. Well, these are affirmations. Affirmations are things that we speak into existence, we feel them into existence. And this has been the mantra of the live stream for a very long time. We're healthy, wealthy, whole, and free. I want to welcome everybody in a live chat that's tuning in on Rumble, tuning in on YouTube. I see James is here. Jamie is here. Konstantinos is here. Good to see you. BB is here. Welcome, everybody. And the reason why this is even coming up is that we see a ramp up of UFO reportings, alien reportings, sightings, and all that stuff. We see the Mockingbird, the mainstream media jump on it. And when that begins to happen, we see whistleblowers and government officials and all that stuff. So there's a legit ramp up right now. And I wanted to give you my perspective about a premonition that I had. I've never shared this before. I usually don't share this. I'll share this in a moment. A premonition I had very, very clearly, very, very vividly about what was going to happen and how it was going to unfold. Before I do that, I want to quickly say one thing about disclosure in general. There's a principle that you can observe and you can kind of try to prove with your own logic. In the history of disclosure, and disclosure is not just about aliens or UFOs, it's about any subject that is hidden from the public, anything that is the public has been lied to about, or whatever that is. It's in the very best interest of any government. That's the nature of government, to conceal any kind of information from the people that would in any way, shape, or form empower the people. I'm sorry to say that that's the nature of any government. There have been notable exceptions in history every now and then, but for the most part, the government does not tell the truth to the people. It tells as little as possible. It compartmentalizes truth. It compartmentalizes story. It never gives you the big picture. So when I keep hearing from government officials, former government officials, and anybody connected to the government that this is coming, that people, they want to bring this out to the people, I call BS. But this was the alien card. We've heard about this for 50, 60 years, maybe even longer. In the end, they were going to play the ultimate card of an extraterrestrial species, a danger, whatever that might be. And we're going to get into that. Why would such a thing happen, and why would it happen right now, and why am I not a big proponent of this subject in general? For me, there is absolutely no doubt that there are different species, and that species are able to travel between worlds. Now, we have to understand that what we understand currently about the worlds and how they are, where they are, and where we live on, it's very nebulous. We really don't know as much as we think we know. But one thing is clear. There are not just different species out there. They're here too. They have been here. They have been visiting. They have had their influence. They have had their presence. There's no doubt about it. There's way too much evidence that points to it, that has been pointing to it. And I think the picture, once it will be out in the open, will be completely mind-boggling, even to those who have known a lot about it. Okay, so let me put that out there. When the government comes out and says, we're going to tell you the truth about this, run for the hills, because they don't do that. That's not how the government operates. It is not how the government operates. And everybody who's been in the government or higher positions knows this. There are notable exceptions and good people within the government, but as a structure, they don't do that. So what is happening right now on Earth that would warrant a big disclosure, a big display? Okay, right now, we have, over the last 3 years, especially since the beginning of 2020, something unprecedented has been happening on Earth at a pace that we haven't seen before, at an exponential growth we haven't seen before. It's what people call the awakening, and that is happening. And we're now getting into the real details, into the nitty-gritty things, and some very, very dark things are about to come out, and they are coming out. They've come out to a lot of people, but I mean on the big scale, where it can be denied, it can be kind of try to talked away, but the truth is coming out about some very, very dark things that have been going on here for a very long time. This is coming out. The truth about the deeply ingrained conspiratorial nature of the power structure is coming out. There is no more pushing this back, right? That's part of the awakening journey. But what would happen if tomorrow there is a widespread sighting, or if governments in concert, kind of like think 2020, what happened in 2020? All of a sudden, government officials in concert, all of the world came out and they had the same story for the people. They all said the same buzzwords. They all said the same things. It was a script, right? We've seen this in the clips. It was a Mockingbird Media script. So if tomorrow, for example, and I'm just taking tomorrow as an example, it could be a week, could be a month from now, I don't know. But if they came out and started saying, okay, here's the thing, here's what has happened over the last few days, crafts, other species, contact, blah, 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 blah. If they do it right, people have called this Project Bluebeam, right? Whatever really, how that would play out is a different story. I don't know. But if that were to happen tomorrow, we would have years of attention to that subject only, like we had from 2020 to what, 2022? There was only one real subject in the world. Now, through that subject, of course, people found out other things, but that was one subject for more than 2 years. So if that were to happen tomorrow, all the other work, all the other important subjects for humanity to heal and awaken from this nightmare that a lot of them were in, it would absolutely fade away. It would go away. It would be hidden in the dark for longer because the public's attention would go to one thing and one thing only: aliens and UFOs. And there probably in our shared history will come a day where that would authentically happen, but it wouldn't be initiated by the governments of the world. Trust me, it would not be. If they initiate that, it will not be real. It will be a story they have made up, and that story will serve multiple purposes. One, it will distract from all the current revelations that are coming out, right? It will distract from that. It will distract from, like, prime ministers are, as we speak, being arrested in this world. Yes, it's really happening. This mainstream media reports. It will distract from all of that. It will distract from the investigation into 2020 through 2023, what really happened. It will distract from all of that. It will distract from trafficking. It will distract from ritualistic abuse. It will distract from all the other things. It will take away all the air. That's what would happen. And I believe if that happens now, it's a disservice because it wouldn't be the authentic thing. Okay, now I'm going to share this premonition that I had years ago. And I want to say this. I usually don't do this. I knew the day would come where I would share it. But it was years and years and years ago. And I knew at that time, no, it's not to be shared now. It's okay. I get these feelings. To the nature of my premonitions, I've had a few since I was a child. So far, they've all come true. Some immediately, some years down the road, but they've all come true. I usually forget them. I have them, I forget them. In terms of, it's a saved memory to my hard drive where I can recollect it completely if I go there, but I don't think about it every day. Okay, so this is what happened. It was a premonition where I was out in a field. It was a celebration. It was kind of like something like 4th of July celebration. A lot of people picnicking in a field. And there were sort of storm clouds coming up. And we were sitting there on our blankets and we were, eating and talking. And it was a nice celebration, just families, right? But there was a storm cloud moving in. And all of a sudden it got darker and darker. And I looked up in the sky and the crafts appeared, right? The UFOs, kind of like what you would picture them to look like. They appeared in the sky. And all of a sudden, of course, there was panic. There was screaming. And it looked like laser beams were coming down from the craft, right? We didn't know. But the thing that I got immediately, I was standing in the field and guys were pulling out their guns and starting to shoot at it around me, This is America. People do come armed to these kind of things. So they started to shoot, and all I was thinking, no, 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 don't shoot. This is a false flag. This is not the real thing. Don't shoot. This is the fake invasion. It's not real. This is all I could think of. And I kept yelling at everybody, don't shoot, don't shoot. This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. And I just couldn't. It was too loud. There was too much going on. They wouldn't listen to me. They kept shooting at the craft. And the next thing I knew was there were real weapons being fired at the field. I couldn't tell you that they were of any unknown nature. I just noticed the impact that it was having on the soil next to me. And of course we started running, right? But I knew that the way the people had reacted had triggered a chain of events that now would be unstoppable. I could not get them to listen. So I felt today was the appropriate time to share that with you. I believe if anything like that should happen, I wholeheartedly believe it is a false flag. It is not the real thing. And here's why. These beings have been coming here and living here and having a certain kind of control here for a very, very long time. If they chose to go into something like the ultimate, I don't know, the ultimate war against humanity, they wouldn't have to do it that way, right? They would not have to. So this to me is the false flag. And the reason why would you have a false flag other than distracting from all the subjects that we're currently really, really exposing? There's another reason. And this reason, of course, listen to Ronald Reagan when he said he often thinks about what would happen if an alien power would attack Earth and how quickly we would overcome all of our disputes and all of our fights and all of our differences and unite all over the world to fight this power. This would be the absolute most logical reason to create a single central government, a single central objective, an agenda, right? And this would give it legitimacy overnight. You wouldn't have to have a campaign. You don't have to, and these things, they're being prepared in the background through the health sector, through the World Health Organization, for their new international health regulation amendments. We've talked about this. All these things are being prepared in the background, but you need, like the Rockefellers and the Kissingers, and they have always said you just need the one right crisis, right? Well, we had just a big crisis over the last years, and now if you want to push the next steps, the next step in this, you could use something like an alien invasion, a UFO attack, something like that. This is not for me to say it is happening now. I don't want to predict these things. I hate people that say it's happening June 12th. But if it were to happen tomorrow, this is my take on it. I simply don't think that the way a alien or foreign race, whatever you want to call it, would introduce itself publicly to the people would be through a hostile attack. It just doesn't make sense. We're way too easy to be manipulated. We can see that. The masses are way too easy to steer in other ways. You don't need that. And chances are, to me, that real disclosure would happen beyond the scope and control of the governments. Real disclosure would happen directly, way more directly. It would have a much more natural approach. Beings would literally make themselves visible to all kinds of people everywhere. So you would kind of soften that blow. You wouldn't have it so focused in one way and one direction. It's just strategic thinking. And if you think that beings travel, between worlds, well, there's some strategic thinking that they're probably capable of. So that's my take. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have studied this way deeper than I have and who are way more knowledgeable. I know people talk about Dr. Stephen Greer and other great people that have studied this and worked on this for many, many decades. And I don't want to take away from their knowledge, and I don't want to take away from their projections. I was sharing a premonition with you that is independent of that. Everything they say, I can't speak for it, against it, because I don't have that firsthand knowledge. I just gave you my perspective on this and how we look at it. my sincere intention in this moment and moving forward over the next days and week is to support the current energy stream that has opened, the energy window that is open for us to bring to the forefront um, this very much needed exposure of some of the darkest things that have happened to the most innocent ones. That's really what my intention is. And connected to that, the absolute intention to help people all over the world heal, because healing is what is needed the most. The healing of the spiritual, the psychological, and the physical trauma that has happened to so many people. That's where we stand right now. And I believe if we go through this properly, if we do this, if we take the right steps as a human family all over the world, if we really show up for this, then the other truths that are still hidden and so necessary, like the one about other worlds, what is our world? How do we fit into the whole system? What is our true role? What are other species? All of that will come up in that. Because as we heal ourselves, we step back into the eternal balance of who we really are. We connect again with higher spirit, and truth automatically reappears in our lives. That's how I see it. That's kind of the message that we've been sharing. So I wanted to come out, share this with you all, and thank you for tuning in. I know everybody has their own little take on this, so I don't pretend I have the truth, right? I never do that. I can just give you my perspective, my experience, and what I believe, and that's what we do here. So, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. We also encourage you, if you really want to get the uncensored version of what we talk about, there's a link in the description to our locals community, the inspired community on locals. When they first approached us about a year ago, they said, "You know what? We're not going to beat around the bush. We know the challenges that you're facing on these big tech platforms. Our whole purpose is to connect you with your audience where you can be able to speak freely and say exactly what you want to say." So they have kept up their end of the bargain, and I appreciate that. So if you feel like uh, you just want to become a member for free there, we appreciate that very much. If you want to become a supporter, we appreciate that very much. But there's a link down here, and there's a button on Rumble that takes you right to the locals community. Just check it out. Take a look around, see what you think. But we'd love to have you over there. So thank you so much for now. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.